Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Swallowed Star based on novel. So let's start. Within the shrine, amidst the countless sealed stars, the great being gazed down at Luo Feng, speaking slowly and affectionately. His voice boomed throughout the shrine. As a completely unique life form of the universe, his height was naturally over 90,000 kilometers. He was used to speaking loudly. Disciple, your two treasures, one is the Star Tower, the other is the Force Armor. As for your second senior's two treasures, one is the Yangshan Halberd and the other is the Raw Soul. Back then, when I nurtured the Yangshan race, they were naturally born with natural abilities. Hence, they naturally became fighters. The leader, which is your second senior, was also proficient in close combat, with endless power. The Yangshan Halberd was a terrifying weapon, while the Raw Soul was a special soul treasure. When fused with the soul, it could make the soul become extremely strong. Luo Feng was shocked. The treasure Raw Soul could strengthen a soul. Your second senior's god body was extremely powerful, but his soul was relatively normal compared to it, and was akin to normal universe masters. Using the Raw Soul, it gave him the upper hand. Since then, the Raw Soul has made his soul side grow much stronger, and with the Yangshan Halberd giving him intrepid strength. Currently, he's become an absolute power of the universe, who was proficient in battles, and became a race that many others do not dare mess with. Luo Feng nodded as he heard. He respected within, creating a superpower of the universe, which was truly unbelievable. However, I wasn't satisfied. The being looked at Luo Feng, his eyes gleaming. Hence, I created the Earth race. Even though the body was strong, the universe has some ways to change the bloodline and evolve the genetics. I created the 9-volume manual that went against the laws of the universe, and was able to improve the foundation of Earth humans, raising them to become an extremely rare and powerful life form. You possess the golden horned beast. Hence, you are already considered one of the pinnacle bloodlines. Your attack strength is tens of times that of a human. The first of the 9 volumes raises the strength 3 times, the second is 6 times, and the third is 12 times. Just the 3 volumes alone can make a human body exceed that of a pinnacle bloodline golden horned beast. Then there is the 4th and 5th. As one goes further, the commonly seen bloodlines and life forms will have no way to match you. The golden horned beast is able to pass on its memories to its next generation. It is still considered a normal race. The being exclaimed, and there are still other special life forms in the universe. They have no way to reproduce or pass down anything. Since the dawn of time, some life forms could possibly only have 2 or 3 members of its race in the entire universe, even some having but one, completely unique. The stronger they are, and the more heavenly the life form is, the lesser the numbers. Like the way you acquired the blood river energy, they are blood drops of the beast god. The majestic being exclaimed. The beast god is a completely unique life form, with the laws embedded within its body, having the strength of a universe master. Can you imagine being born as a universe master? Luo Feng was stunned. Special life form. He had searched thoroughly before and understood quite a bit. There were life forms born in special environments of the universe, which were unable to reproduce or pass down. It was impossible for them to have a race. The golden horned beast, though rare, could still reproduce and pass down their knowledge. Over countless eras of accumulating, it resulted in large amounts of absolute warriors. However, some special life forms like the beast god was the only one in the universe, with no way to reproduce. They naturally couldn't form a race. Many special life forms in the universe have to grow from being weak and small. The beast god, with the laws embedded in its body, was naturally strong. But, such a thing is extremely rare. The being looked down at Luo Feng. These special life forms have genetics that are hundreds of times to thousands of times stronger than humans. This far exceeded the golden horned beast. Luo Feng nodded. The golden horned beast was already considered a pinnacle bloodline, and it referred to the many generations of reproduction. Those unique life forms that exceeded the beast were plenty too, only their numbers were pitiful. Like the beast god and the great being, they were completely unique. Using the 9-volume manual is akin to creating a special life form. It's a pity that only one person can use it, and it has to be a flesh and blood life form with the soul from Earth to train. The being said, I have great expectations for you. You have the 9-volume manual, and your genetics are hence much more evolved. You will eventually have a very powerful body and soul. As a rare exceptional leader of countless ears, your willpower and consciousness are already very powerful. Consciousness will strengthen your spirit energy, and willpower will make your consciousness even more powerful. These two tools will make your soul unleash strength tens to hundreds of times what it is naturally capable of. Strong body and soul, strong willpower and consciousness too. Whether it's the body or the soul, there are many ways to strengthen them. Only willpower and consciousness relies on one's heart, treasures and techniques are useless. The being side. Hence, after suffering from the previous experience, I created the Earth race, with the mental states as the core. Even though the body is considered quite normal among humanity, the universe is vast and mysterious, with powerful consciousness and willpower. It's enough to make countless races look up to you. Luo Feng nodded. In terms of mental states, the Earth humans were indeed worthy of respect from countless races. These two treasures now belong to you. The Force armor, even though your body is strong, when you become a true absolute warrior, it still be weaker than your soul. Hence, you can use the armor to strengthen it. The Star Tower strengthens your soul, willpower and consciousness. You naturally should walk the path of the spirit reader controller, or illusionist. Your body is strong now, when you reach undying, your soul side will truly shine. This Star Tower is something that is incredibly suited for you. You're second senior, and you have a total of 4 treasures. Among which, the Star Tower is the most complex. You will slowly understand it later. Let me take you to a place now. The being's voice rumbled as he stood up. Teacher, where are we going? Luo Feng was curious. You'll find out soon. The being took one step, and appeared in the center of the shrine. A warped passage appeared in the center, Put, and Luo Feng followed behind. This pathway extended into a space passage. Within the warped passage, the great being and the others flew as fast as lightning, quickly reaching a mysterious area. Hua hua hua. A colorful space. With a glance, one could easily see different colored water droplets floating in the vast space. The being brought Luo Feng and Put into the area. This is a space within the Star Tower. The great being pointed at the colorful water droplets floating around. Luo Feng, do you know what are these? Luo Feng carefully examined them. With a glance, there were over 1 million of them, floating in a blur about the space. This is the future of your Earth race. The being exclaimed. The Earth race's future. Luo Feng held his breath, looking at the millions of water droplets. The being nodded. I created the Force armor for you, and the Raw Soul for your senior. In truth, their strength doesn't reach their optimum level at all. The main thing about these two treasures is their ability to reproduce. I spent more than half of the materials making sure they were able to produce other such treasures. The Force armor can produce the soldier, general, king and emperor armor. The Raw Soul can produce the soldier, general, king and emperor soul. Of course these are just names, representing the 4 different categories. The old being smiled. The armors are able to be used by the Yangshan race and others specially evolved by me. Of course, since you are trained in the 9-volume manual, you belong to my race of evolution as well. Also, your evolution is even higher than the Yangshan race. You can use them too. Luo Feng realized. It was no wonder that humanity hadn't been able to study the armors. Not even being able to discover the soldier and general fragments. The usage requirements were simply too harsh. When this great being created them back then, they were specially made only for those he had specially evolved. The Raw Soul is the same. When I modified Earth into a nurturing basket, the Raw Soul, the soldier, general, king and emperor souls could only be used by Earth humans. The old being exclaimed. Other than you Earth humans, only the leader of the Yangshan race, and your senior can use the soldier and general soul strength. Of course the Raw Soul he has doesn't require all these. However, these aspects are very important to your Earth race. With them, the Earth race can create a very terrifying spirit reader army. Whether they are controllers or illusionists, they would all be incredibly powerful. They would be able to reduce the mortality rate of the Earth's elites. That way, there would be a higher probability of producing knights. The Earth people have a limitless future. As they have to be born on Earth itself for their soul to be special, and the Earth is only so big. Hence, it would limit the number of humans on Earth. Bound by this little planet, it's made the Earth race as rare as the Yangshan race. However, the percentage of powerful warriors would be very high. With enough time, when you become an absolute warrior in the future, with your protection, guidance and nurture, you will create a powerful race. Of course, whether you remain within humanity, or make the Earth race a separate race itself, it's all your choice. However, this would all have to wait till you become a true powerful warrior in the universe before it's possible. Luo Feng looked at the vast space of water droplets. He was almost able to see the future of the Earth warriors in his eyes. With his guidance, the name of the Earth would spread far and wide, becoming an incredible power of the trillions of races in the universe. Even though a skyscraper always starts from the first level, the foundation of the building will determine how high it can go. My foundation is set. It's time to build. It'll all depend on my hard work. Luo Feng thought. There were extremely few in the universe that had as many resources as him. Humanity had countless races under it with quite a few universe masters. It was definitely unwise to leave the Star Tower and force armor to a sector lord immediately. No matter how much of a genius he was, it was impossible. The great being, however, was a lone wolf. He didn't need to think about the race, and it was obvious that his accumulated wealth and strength wasn't too far off from humanity as a whole. To be on good terms with such a being, even the universe masters would be incredibly happy. My disciple. The majestic being pointed to the floating water droplets around. There are a total of 1,000,000 soldier souls, 100,000 general, 10,000 king, and 1,000 emperor souls. They are similar to the Yangshan armors. They have a huge requirement on the bodies. The raw souls have a huge requirement on their souls. The soldier soul, only a normal human sector Lord Pinnacle can fully accept the fusion. The general requires 100 times that of a sector Lord Pinnacle. The king's soul requires 10,000 times. The emperor soul requires 1,000,000. The being looked at Luo Feng. Disciple, even though you are only sector lord, you have soul amplification techniques. In terms of willpower and consciousness, you've passed the life or death inheritance. The consciousness is part of the soul, while yours may be slightly weaker, it's akin to an undying. However, in terms of willpower, many knights don't even compare to you. The Star Tower inheritance is very special. The stronger the soul, the more painful the fusion. Hence back, when the being got a big group of warriors to experiment on, he had got a few knights to give it a shot. Anyone able to become a knight was incredibly powerful, and would have been an absolute genius. However, the pain was unbearable. Without any struggle, they all fell. Very simple. The sector lords and undyings had weaker souls, the pain from the inheritance was naturally lesser. But, even they all fell too. All they did was that they managed to struggle a little. Hence he set for the candidates to be either sector lord or undying. But for Luo Feng to succeed, his willpower had to be heavenly first, honing it over the past 6,000 years, especially with that evolution at the 3,200-year mark. A knight's willpower couldn't even compare to his. The soul acts as the soldier, the consciousness is the general, and the willpower commands them all. The stronger the consciousness and willpower, the higher the amount of strength you are able to unleash. Even though you are a sector lord, you have over 32 times soul amplification. However, using your willpower, even after using the general soul, you'd still have plenty to spare. The being said, take these 2 general souls. One is for your earth body, and another for the golden horned beast. Once I have arranged everything, you can use it then. Yes. Luo Feng said respectfully. With a flip of his hand, he kept 2 general souls into his world ring. Teacher, these soldier and general souls. Luo Feng was hesitant. Beside him, the universe master Put laughed. 3rd junior, they are all special items, and their level of power is not lower than many true treasures. Unless you truly want to begin nurturing the Earth race warriors, otherwise, it's better to leave them here. They are safest here. HM. Luo Feng nodded, looking at the countless water droplets. These were the future of the Earth warriors. Follow me, let me take you on a tour of the Star Tower. The being pointed ahead, and countless water droplets in the space began to form a boat. First it formed the head, and later, on the rest of it, the power gathering of energy formed an exquisite over 10 kilometers long boat. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. Get on. The being jumped in and sat crossed-legged. Since he was over 900 m tall, when he sat in this over 10 kilometers long boat, it was almost like a normal person sitting in a 30 m long boat. It was normal enough. However, Luo Feng and Put were much smaller. Creation. Luo Feng's eyes were filled with shock. This was a boat that was even stronger than the one Nine Blade had sat in, yet he constructed it so easily. Are you shocked? Third Junior, teacher is one of the greatest beings of the universe. The laws make way for him, they are useless in the area around him. You should feel it too, you can't even feel the laws around him. Put smiled at Luo Feng. And is able to fully control whatever happens in the area around him. It's not like the laws obeying him, rather, he's the master. Within a certain area, even the laws have to obey whatever he says. If he said that fire can freeze a person to death, that would happen. If he said that countless lives have reached the end of their lifespans and should die, then they would all die. If he said that a star should vanish, giving off endless light, that would happen. If he said that the speed limit isn't light speed, but 10 times that, then this area would allow 10 times light speed. The laws obey him. Within his area, the laws are useless and he controls everything. Put laughed as he looked at Luo Feng's shocked expression. Luo Feng was completely stunned. The laws obey him. This was the great being. Anything he said goes. The laws were useless. Of course it's not as invincible as you think. In this vast universe, everything flows according to the origin laws. It gives the strongest beings respect. Hence they have certain privileges. This ability is only applicable to a fixed area around him. If one is truly going against the laws of the universe, that would be suicide. In theory, being able to do this would mean he can easily kill countless warriors. However, when it came to the universe masters who are able to control time and space, even the great being would find it hard to kill them. Put explained. Luo Feng felt shocked as he listened to the explanation. The perspectives were completely different. In the past, he was fixated on becoming an emperor or knight, looking high up at the universe masters, having some hope of someday becoming one. Which genius didn't have that dream? A soldier that didn't want to be general wasn't a good soldier, but just how many could make it that far? The geniuses all had ambitions and dreams, but many end up simply just that. Luo Feng looked up to the universe masters. However, now with both his seniors as universe masters, and his teacher being the great being, listening to them speak was like hearing the highest level of secrets about the universe. Star Tower, 9 light years tall. If you slowly go about it, who knows when you'll finish? The majestic being sat crossed-legged like a huge mountain. He pointed about, let me guide you and you'll finish it in half a day. Pay close attention. Luo Feng sat in the boat. The boat's speed far exceeded light speed. In theory, the moment that happened, they would enter the dark universe, but that didn't happen. The great being had already fixed the speed limit around the boat, going against the laws of the universe. This was something only the great being could do. The most peculiar thing was, Luo Feng could still see everything clearly. Able to see everything past light speed. Luo Feng couldn't understand it at all. Everything went against what he was used to, but he carried on. The vast star tower. There was endless space within. The many forbidden paces only took up less than 1% of the area. As for the larger areas, there were the many heavenly pillars, endless pillars. The short ones were a few light seconds long, while the long ones were over 1 light year. The pillars had endless engravings and were incredibly complex. They glowed with gold light. They leaned and supported the tower, and around them were other strange-shaped treasures, all with enormous amounts of energies. Other than those, there were the many sealed stars. They were like automatic cars that revolved on their own all about, ever the ones with markings on them. The pillars were the framework of the entire tower. The other treasures were the tiles and bricks. And countless sealed stars revolved about. The huge lore engravings covered the heavenly pillars, piercing through countless treasures and sealed stars. It almost looked like an incredibly terrifying machine, forming one complete body. This was the true treasure, Star Tower. While Luo Feng could visibly see the complex engravings, it exceeded even that of the beast god statue. This tour took an entire day. Luo Feng was completely stunned. These lore engravings. Luo Feng held his breath. Even though I spent countless years and effort on them. The great being's voice boomed. But during the process, a special change occurred that was out of my control. Even I couldn't understand it. This was the wonder of the universe. My disciple, you can feel and sense the entire tower. Yes, I can. Luo Feng nodded. After the process was over, I could feel it. The sealed stars, I feel as though they are easy enough for me to just grab, easy for me to enter the many forbidden spaces. As for triggering the entire tower, I still feel like I'm facing an immovable mountain. The Star Tower has limitless power. The being smiled. You are still so weak, how can you trigger it? Just triggering that force armor alone requires a body strength of 100 million times Sector Lord. Normally, only knights can reach that limit. When you break through to Undying, you will definitely become Emperor Invincible level, and will be even stronger than many invincible emperors out there. When you train in the 9-volume manual later on, you will become akin to a special life form, you'd be able to use the force armor then. However, the Star Tower is stronger than the armor by hundreds of times. Triggering it is incredibly hard. For you to use it perfectly, it will be very difficult. The moment you can do it, even if you use the smallest amount of strength, it would be extremely easy for you to squash the knights. The being said. But, right now, you are still weak. I understand. Luo Feng said respectfully. The Star Tower and Force Armor are both items you cannot fully utilize yet. The Force Armor is a complete armor that cannot be separated. However, there are countless treasures within Star Tower, you can take some of them. I've made some special treasures according to what Star Tower produces. The being flipped his hand. Hua. A huge map floated in the air above the boat, engulfing the entire boat. The over 10 kilometers long boat became but a tiny dot against this map. A terrifying energy emanated from it. This map's energy was incredibly powerful, far exceeding the sealed stars. This map is a true treasure, which is able to meld the many sealed stars within. With the two combined, it becomes a very special treasure, star map. Although, it barely reaches the level of true treasure. The being looked at Luo Feng. Once you become its master, you will know of its wonders. The map shrank swiftly and landed before Luo Feng. Luo Feng received it, sending a thread of world energy inside. With his spirit imprint within, he formed a soul connection with it and information about the star map poured into his mind. So it's like that, what a terrifying star map. Luo Feng was shocked. The map itself was a treasure. The sealed stars were treasures too. The map was able to absorb the sealed stars, and according to the information he gathered, it could at most hold 100,000 sealed stars. Every sealed star was a treasure. Once 100,000 sealed stars were absorbed by the map, it would make the star map become a true treasure. The star map could be used to imprint Luo Feng's attack techniques and lore engravings. The moment it attacks, the stars within would connect with the laws, its power was limitless. I was lazy. The being laughed, his voice resounding throughout the space. Thus I made this map, the sealed stars however are from Star Tower. Thank you teacher. Luo Feng was truly grateful. This star map can hold up to 100,000 sealed stars. Even though there are many sealed stars within Star Tower, they are all important pieces of Star Tower itself, and none can be spared. Only very few, about 10,000 of them are useless. Those you can take. The being said. I understand. Luo Feng nodded. After becoming the master of Star Tower, he came to know of many things. Actually, the majestic being exclaimed, his voice echoing throughout, the sealed stars, when I first made them, it didn't have the ability to seal. It was mostly for attacking, whether it's controlling countless stars to attack, or trap an enemy. However, when the change happened, the many stars acquired the ability to seal, that exceeded my expectations. Controlling the stars with the lore engravings on them, they can easily be sent to seal others. Before you can control the entire tower, controlling the stars to attack would be a big advantage for you. The being exclaimed. If you can completely control the Star Tower, with just one attack, you can make the tower like a dagger and pierce forward. This attack would be its strongest attack. Even with its weakest strength, it would still easily kill a knight. If you can unleash more of its strength, everyone in the universe would fear it. Luo Feng couldn't help but ask, Teacher, may I ask when I'll actually be able to trigger the entire tower? Ha ha. Can you see the energy whirlpools? The being asked. Yes, the 9 whirlpools are incredibly powerful, even knights would die if they fell in. Luo Feng said. The 9 whirlpools are there for the tower to regenerate its energy, absorbing energy from the universe itself. The being said. The tower is 9 light years tall, and it holds immense power. Even the absolute warriors of the universe have no way to power it. To hold such strength, the amount of energy it uses is terrifying too. It's constantly swallowing energy, hence it's able to easily destroy a knight. If you shrink its size, when will you be able to supply that much energy? The being asked. Luo Feng was stunned. That would take a huge amount of energy, the whirlpools alone could destroy knights. Relax, that's at its optimum form, you only need to unleash the minimum strength and the energy required would be much lesser. The being said. Even so, it far exceeds the requirements for the force armor. As for the Star Tower, I have one request for you. Please say it. Luo Feng replied. Before you can fully trigger it, let it stay here. The being emphasized. Leave it here. Luo Feng instantly understood. The Star Tower has long drawn the attention of the absolute warriors of the universe, even beings that can match my strength have longed for it. This is after all one of the strongest weapons in the universe. It's been noticed here in the outer region wars for a long time, the moment it vanishes, it would create a huge commotion. All you soldiers of the outer region wars in Star Tower, the soldiers of the four camps, the hundreds of thousands of emperors including you, no one will get away. The being said. Luo Feng stared wide-eyed. Hundreds of thousands of emperors, no one could escape. Right? For such a treasure, it would attract the most terrifying of beings. With their power, who could escape? Even the universe masters of the universe, they wouldn't let Luo Feng and the others get away. With Luo Feng's status, getting the Shouwu wings which had little help to the universe masters was still okay. But for the Star Tower, even the strongest of warriors would go crazy for it, it definitely wasn't something he could possess now. The huge axe founder, the primal chaos city leader. They all constantly thought for humanity. Yet they too would take this away from Luo Feng, and give it to some strong universe master to use. It was even possible for the huge axe founder to use it for himself. Unless you have the strength to match up to them, without it, don't come and move it. The being emphasized. If you can truly trigger it, you'd almost have strength that could match up to them. Plus, with humanity behind you, by then you'd be one of humanity's upper echelons, and no one would dare take your treasure. Naturally you'd have the right to own the Star Tower. Luo Feng nodded. This was a double-edged sword. You have 3 treasures now. The being said. When I first saw you, your energy was completely camouflaged, like a normal undying. Anything able to do that is a true treasure, this must be something your teacher the primal chaos city leader gave you. For him to give it to you means it has little use for universe masters, but it's still enough for knights to envy. This is your first treasure. Luo Feng blinked his eyes. This was extremely accurate. The second one is the Tower Pearl. This is the pearl that fused with your soul. This pearl is the control center for the forbidden spaces within the tower, and sealing is the most important ability of the tower. The attacking and piercing are subsidiary. While the defensive abilities are secondary too, sealing an absolute warrior is its main ability. The pearl itself is considered a treasure too. Fusing the pearl with your soul, you should know how to use it to protect your soul. Luo Feng nodded. During the process of fusing the pearl, it was incredibly painful. However, after its completion, he could feel that it was extraordinary. The third is the star map. Fusing it with the sealed stars will grow its power. It's already considered a low-level true treasure. Your strength currently is unable to use too many sealed stars. Even with the general soul, I estimate you'll probably only be able to use about 10 stars, and that's already not bad. 3 treasures. All the universe has yet to see these treasures. The being said. Since it's so, nobody can recognize it. As long as you don't use their power to their limits, no one would be able to guess your treasures. Luo Feng nodded. Shouwu wings were yet to be discovered. As for the star map, he would go fuse it with the sealed stars later. It was a completely new treasure. Tower Pearl on the other hand was the core of the Star Tower. No one had ever successfully fused with it before, hence no one knew about it. These 3 treasures all belonged to the realm of true treasures, at the level where the universe masters wouldn't bother too much, but sufficient for knights to go crazy for. Don't get cocky. These 3 low treasures are not even a fraction of the Star Tower or the Force Armor. The being said. I will work hard to be able to use the Force Armor and Star Tower as soon as possible. Luo Feng said. HM. The being nodded. Luo Feng and Put sat on the boat and listened to their teacher, beginning their way back to the shrine. The speed on the way back was very fast, they reached back in an instant. Teacher, I've only acquired 2 fragments of the 9-volume manual. May I know where the rest are? Luo Feng couldn't help but ask. The 9-volume manual can make your genes evolve to the level of a special life form in the universe. He looked down at Luo Feng, and if your genetics are too absurd, it would attract the attention of countless warriors. The stronger you get, only then would you be worthy of getting special treasures. The heavenly crystal fragments of the manual, there are a total of 5 pieces. You've already gotten 2 pieces. As for the other 3, they are placed in dangerous regions in the universe. At Sector Lord level, you can go get another piece, at Undying, you can go get the other. After becoming a knight, you can go get the last piece. The being looked at Luo Feng. The areas get more and more dangerous. When you become a knight and get the last piece, completing the set, I think you'll be very close to triggering the entire Star Tower. The coordinates for these 3 metal boards have some simple descriptions about the dangers. The being pointed at Luo Feng, and a beam of light flew at him straight into his mind. The information poured in and Luo Feng instantly understood. Disciple, don't die at these places. The being said. Yes. Luo Feng was very clear. Now that the job is done, I've prepared sufficiently for you. With 3 treasures, everything will depend on yourself. I will not help you at all in the future. The being said. I await the day you'll be able to trigger the entire Star Tower. After he said that, the space shook. The being had vanished, leaving behind Luo Feng and Put in the shrine. Senior, I'm ashamed to say I still don't know what teacher's name was. Luo Feng said, he didn't dare ask before. Ha ha. Put sat cross-legged and laughed. No one knows his true name, but because he often sits on a mountain peak and is seen as such throughout the vast universe. The absolute warriors of the vast universe gave him a title, Mountain Sitting Guest. Your second senior's name is Cao Ben Chi, he's known in the universe as Emperor Yang. The great being Mountain Sitting Guest, and the leader of the Yang Shan race Emperor Yang. Luo Feng remembered them. The Earth race has a leader now and the job is done. I'm much more relaxed now. Third junior, I'll take my leave. Put smiled and the space shook as he vanished. Within the shrine, Luo Feng stood alone, smiling. My teacher is one of the strongest in the universe, Mountain Sitting Guest. But he sure is lax about his disciples. From now till the time I trigger the Star Tower, he didn't even care at all. Luo Feng walked within the shrine. As he reached the edge, a pathway appeared. Standing before it, the endless sealed stars floated outside. Stars come. Luo Feng smiled. Immediately, the tower began to revolve within. From the endless years of consuming energy, part of the energy began to rush over from within the tower, quickly gathering before Luo Feng. Over 10,000 sealed stars revolved. All of them didn't seem to have the gold glow of origin laws. The other sealed stars cannot be taken. Hence, these 16,235 stars are currently useless. Luo Feng nodded. He triggered the stars via the Star Tower. They began to fly over to him and recognize him as their master one by one. Teacher had said that I'd at most be able to trigger 10 of them at the same time. Then I'll first take 100 and when I need more, I'll come back again. Luo Feng stood in space. In front of him, there were 100 sealed stars that looked like glass pearls were revolving. With a flip of his hand, star map appeared. The 100 pearls all landed within the map. Immediately star marks began to appear throughout the map, as they began to form a special connection. The star map was born. Sky-tearing claw. With a thought, he looked down at the star map and a complex lore engraving appeared on it. It was the complete lore engraving of his sky-tearing claw. 6 out of the 100 stars glowed with gold. Looks like sky-tearing claw can at most trigger 6 stars. Luo Feng nodded. The use of the star map was as such. By controlling a large amount of sealed stars, one can imprint techniques within them. One could also easily wipe it clean and place a different technique if and when needed. The level of the techniques would determine how many stars were needed. Rise! Luo Feng roared. 6 pearls rose gradually out of the star map. They were completely black in color and glowed with laws. After changing from within the star map, it was impossible to tell that these 6 little stars were the powerful sealed stars from before. Go! Luo Feng gazed into the space ahead. Hua! The 6 black stars immediately rushed forward, connecting with the universe laws. Countless gold threads interweaved, and in almost an instant, they formed a claw. Just for the limb and claw portion, it brought with it terrifying force as it slashed through the space ahead. Luo Feng was full of joy as he looked on, after which the 6 stars returned back into the star map. Ha ha, this star map is definitely a spirit reader's treasure. He was incredibly excited. The weapons a spirit reader requires were normally powerful techniques that were placed within incredibly expensive materials. Therefore, during battle, they could rely on triggering the lore engravings, saving a large amount of effort to unleash maximum strength. The Nanshan armament had the 9 techniques imprinted within before combining the knife blades within. Hence, using the weapon to unleash the power of the techniques. The star map was different. It could switch the techniques within at any given time. With the sealed stars as its foundation, no matter how powerful the techniques were, even a universe master would probably just have to use a little more sealed stars to place his techniques within. And these are sealed stars. Every one of them is a true treasure, which is extremely powerful. Even if I don't use any powerful techniques, just the sealed stars alone attacking would be incredibly powerful. Even the stars, white dwarf star etc., they would be instantly smashed. This was after all a treasure even knights sought. Luo Feng smiled. Unlike the Showu wings, as it was too powerful, he was unable to unleash enough of its strength yet. The star map, though powerful by itself, the sealed stars within, were true treasures too. The moment Luo Feng uses the general soul, he would be able to trigger extremely powerful techniques. Star map, this star map will be able to take any technique I come up with. It will accommodate my path. From today on, this star map will be called the star diagram. Luo Feng really liked this star map. Hence, he could take liberty to completely name it what he wanted. Absorbing the general soul. Luo Feng flipped his hand and a drop of water floated and flew towards his forehead, gently fusing as it touched. As it connected with his main core, it was like water gushing into a dry river, swiftly being absorbed. The absorbed general soul was like an infant growing into a giant, giving endless strength. So powerful. With my current willpower and consciousness, I can completely trigger it. The soldier soul has 1,000 times the sector lord's soul strength, while the general soul has 10,000 times. He exclaimed. Teacher created the force armor and raw soul. Even though they both targeted different aspects, the requirements and strengths are pretty similar, as one is for the body, while the other is for the soul. Luo Feng's current spirit energy was incredibly powerful, having 10,000 times sector lord spirit energy with the general soul. This was akin to a low emperor, and with his control of his willpower and consciousness, he could unleash strength akin to a pinnacle emperor. Weng. A blur tower silhouette began to engulf the little beast god formed from his main core. This silhouette was formed from the tower pearl, it slowly got absorbed and vanished. My soul's foundation is set, and with my willpower, the power will be limitless. Just in terms of defense, with the help of Tower Pearl, who can deal with me? Luo Feng was incredibly confident. He spread his silver wings within the shrine. With the Showu wings on his back and the Tower Pearl within, also with the general armor and general soul, he even had the star map for offense. He was intrepid, as this was enough to make Emperor Limit's despair. Against such a terrifying being, who would dare offend him? In terms of foundation, it was deep. He had many treasures, even Seven Blade or Life Fall Emperor would all stare in shock. Only thing was their strength was very strong, combined with their treasures, they could still give Luo Feng a tough fight. 6,000 years of life or death inheritance. Over 5,000 years of studying the beast god path, assisting my space laws. He exclaimed, when he was at the 1,000 plus mark, he had already reached the 19th level of the beast god path, with 5,000 years now, he had already reached the 20th level, his improvement speed was incredibly fast. Passing the heavenly bridge's 20th level. Terrifying, of course the main thing was that he had the beast god statue to forcefully copy and imitate, plus his willpower and consciousness kept getting stronger, allowing him to reach higher levels quickly. Just his beast god presence improvement alone was swift. However, his Nanshan 7 forms and space laws were slower. He had just finished the second form of the Nanshan 7 forms, its power was only akin to the heavenly bridge's 18th level. With regards to the space laws, he had completely comprehended the 6th picture, akin to the 18th level too. It was obvious in terms of law comprehension, the beast god presence was much harder to make progress in, however as it was much more powerful, it gave him terrifying strength. And I got an extra surprise. I only completed the 6th picture of the space laws, and the 7th picture is the most important, yet I know nothing about it. The Mosha body however, using the life crystal and its special connection with the universe, is now able to use teleportation. Teleportation. I'm now able to do it myself. He was incredibly happy, Even though I have heavy arrow as a slave, during critical times of battle, the enemy will naturally deal with us separately. Heavy arrow will be unable to always stay by my side. If I need to flee, being able to teleport myself is the fastest. He had already imagined it. If his earth body was fighting, he could let the Mosha body become a piece of metal and appear within his muscles. Sure. The Mosha body could use teleportation, and he could flee. The Mosha body and the earth body both shared the same main core. For the Mosha body to appear from within his internal world, this was something no one could stop. Unlike the world ring, which required world energy to guide. Appearing from within the internal world only required a thought. 6,000 years, his improvement was indeed a jump. His beast god presence had reached the 20th level, Nanshan 7 forms, the 2nd level, his Mosha body could teleport, his willpower was now at least thousands of times stronger than before, and his teacher had left him 2 treasures that would make countless knights go crazy for. Altogether, he had 3 treasures now, along with his special general soul and armor. Everything was within his grasp. Many methods within my grasp, even against 7 blade or life fall or da long, I need not fear. He was incredibly confident. Getting the inheritance from the sitting mountain guest being, he learnt that there were quite a few such powerful beings in the universe. Such warriors that didn't need to think about races or others, their inheritance could truly make the 6 pinnacle races go green with envy. The primal chaos city leader had long thought, if he couldn't get them in, it was better to let someone of his race get their inheritance. That would be extremely beneficial to the race. Everything is settled. Time to visit my family. Luo Feng's gaze before was piercing and strong. The moment he thought of his family, they softened. During the life or death inheritance, he persevered all because he wanted to see his family again. The only thing was after he awoke, he needed to speak to the great being. Against him, he didn't dare send a thread of consciousness into the virtual universe to see his family. That was incredibly disrespectful. That was his first meeting. He didn't want to offend his teacher. If he was a teacher and he went to see his disciple for the first time, should his disciple be distracted and have part of his consciousness in the virtual universe, he would definitely not be happy. Hence he had to bear with it. Waiting until his teacher left before swiftly settling the star map, absorbing the general soul, once everything was done, it was time to see his family. Part 1 end here.